Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror! Rainbows from Hell. Episode number 27. Yes, episode 27. Coming out of last night's lewd, sleazy nudity fest that is Nude for Satan. I mean, it's got nude in the title, so you know what? You can't be disappointed because it's living up to its title. I mean, wouldn't you just hate it if there was like a movie that had nude in it and then there wasn't any nudity? I mean, that would just be like rude. It would be rude. So anyways. So tonight, I thought, okay, you know what? I gotta get off the erotic horror thing for a while. I mean, the ride is fun, but man, sometimes you just go to places that you weren't expecting to and maybe you didn't want to go in the first place. So I thought, okay, you know what? I am going to break a rule. And one of my rules is that during the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror, I try not to touch my top 10 because I feel like I want to respect the movie enough to do a super full-length 20-something minute review with clips and really super in-depth analysis. And, you know, I guess I could sort of talk about this movie for a half hour. I want to try to make these as short as possible, even though, you know, sometimes I just ramble on, like now. So I thought, no, you know what? I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this because honestly, I just for my birthday not too long ago got for the birthday present. So it's a really awesome birthday present. Thank you very much for it. Got the Blu-ray Ultimate Edition from Blue Underground of Zombi, Lucio Fulci Zombi. My number 8 on my top 10 horror movies of all time, if you look at that video. Maybe I'll put a card up for it. I don't know, maybe. Anyways, yes, this was number 8, I believe. And, well, let's just talk about the wonderfulness that is Zombi. So, Zombi. What's it about? Well, I'm glad you asked. So when a seemingly abandoned ship is found floating in the Hudson near New York, at least I think it's the Hudson, I don't know, it might be whatever, the police are dispatched out and they find a zombie there and it attacks the man, one of the police officers. The other police officers shoot it and it goes into the water. Didn't shoot it in the head, I don't believe, so you know what? Uh-oh. Anyways, apparently this boat belonged to the father of this one woman who's looking to find out what happened to him, and she teams up with this reporter who is sent to investigate this strange happenings because they don't necessarily believe what the police are telling them about the whole incident. So anyways, they break into the boat. They find out that that her father was in this island in the Caribbean. So they set off to the Caribbean. They meet up this married couple. I think they're married. Anyways, this couple, they're together, who are vacationing, and they have a boat, and they say, hey, can you take us to this island? And of course, yes, let's take it to this island, which is considered cursed by the natives, and is experiencing an epidemic that's causing people to die, and then come back to life, and then hunger for human flesh. Yes, regular zombie type outbreak. And when they arrive, of course, they meet the zombies, and the zombies say, hey, that's a nice looking neck you got there. So, I don't want to say the whole entire movie, but that's basically how you get from A to B to the glorious smorgasbord of zombie violence that occurs at the end of the movie. And honestly, it is a smorgasbord of violence that happens at the end of this movie. So, let's get to the scores. As I described to you why I think this is one of the top 10 movies in my opinion. So, violence and gore, I give it a 5 out of 5 because this movie is full of not just violence, but really brutal violence. When you're thinking the camera is going to pan away, cut away, no, it stays on there. You have like this arm chomp scene where he just takes like a whole chunk of flesh out of him. I mean, you get multiple throat-tearing scenes, which is always wonderful, with just blood just pouring out. You have like a lot of like face getting shot off. Yeah, you got the most iconic scene in this movie, the eye gouge. The woman just gets grabbed and there's like a broken splintered wood and just pulling, and you're thinking, okay, it's just gonna cut away or something. No, and you just see it go into the eye. And sure, the effects are dated, but still I appreciate the level of care and the fact that they want to show it going into the eye and start tearing out the side of her skull. I mean, just, and then the aftermath when the people find her body, they're just like, her leg is gone. They're just tearing into her. Those zombies are just eating pieces of her. I mean, it's gory. It's nasty. It's brutal. I mean, the last scene is where they're just shooting zombies, you know, and sometimes they'll hit them in the face and they'll put them down, but it's just violent, and I just appreciate the gore effect. So 5 out of 5. Shock value, 4 out of 5. Not because of scares, but because of what's going on in this movie. Like I said, the violence itself is shocking and disturbing, but you get these scenes. And honestly, it's probably the #1 reason why this movie is so highly regarded for me, is that there's just so many memorable scenes. You have a zombie attacking a shark. Never before, and I don't think ever since have we ever had something like that. But we have underwater choreography, zombie, shark, and it's not a fake shark. It's because they couldn't afford to make a fake shark, apparently. So it's crazy, and you're just sitting there and you're like, wow, okay. I mean, once again, you just have the eeriness and the creepiness of the scenes where you have bodies that are wrapped in these white towels or white blankets, and then they slowly come up, and then you get shot in the head, and you get that juxtaposition of the, I guess not really the contrast of the dark red and the white, and it creates just this eerie, dread sort of feel. The village, just all kinds of debris and animals just walking around, and then there's the scene where it's the one singular zombie, the portent for the horde to come. I mean, it's just the things you see in this movie are just spectacular and shocking and visceral, and all the way down to the freaking end. You know, you always have like a cool little book ending of a story going on with the whole New York thing. And honestly, I'm going to talk about it with the plot, but this movie is a bunch of awesome scenes with a, you know, a workable plot connecting them together, but the power is in these scenes, and all together they create just this masterful, violent mess of a movie that just works for me and works for a lot of people. And then in this edition, you get Mr. Guillermo del Toro giving you some commentary and also a nice little intro to this movie. So 4 out of 5 shock value. Acting 3 out of 5. Honestly, Ian McCulloch is one of my favorite period actors in these Italian horror movies. I always seem just to enjoy his performances. Sure, the women in some of these movies are pretty just So yeah, you ding it for that, you know. But overall, though, I do enjoy the performances in this movie. I like the guy who played the doctor. I liked his performance, and the one of the guys with the boats, I liked him. So, anyways, 3 out of 5. Plot, I'm also giving it a 3 out of 5. It's not perfect. There are problems with this plot. A lot of things, like when they find this graveyard and they like find this helmet of a conquistador, and they're like, oh, this must be like a graveyard for the conquistadores, and like that would be 400 years ago, and that means they should not be as intact zombies when they start coming out. And plus, you see some gravestones that say like 1950, so maybe not the conquistadores, anyways. There's also talk like there was never any time where they established that the daughter and the journalist knew about the people coming back to life and eating human beings and having to be killed again. But they do mention that before they're aware of something like that. And like, well, when was that established? So there are problems with this plot, but I think that it flows from A, B, C, and D very well in the construction of the movie, because once again, like I said, it's a whole bunch of awesome scenes, and it can really become like a horrible, disjointed, bad situation if the plot isn't good enough to weave a narrative through them, so that you can at least, you know, keep that amount of engagement from awesome set piece to awesome set piece. So I'm giving it a 3 out of 5, even though I'm not a film student. I'm not like, Mr. Super Critic, so sure, you can disagree with me on that. So anyways, moving on. Nudity, 5 out of 5. Look, and this is also one of the strengths of the plot, they built into the story a 5-minute gratuitous tit scene, because they're on a boat, and the wife or girlfriend's like, yeah, hey, let's stop here. I want to take some pictures. So she takes her top off and goes topless scuba diving, and you get 5 minutes of her, topless scuba diving, which I will totally commend them for. Bravo, bravo. And plus, you get the zombie shark attack thing, man. So that is doubly great. And, I mean, any movie that was going to commit itself to a long take for just titties is going to get a 5. Not to mention the shower scene, where the shower has no curtain or even looks like there's a shower stall. It's like a shower in the middle of a room, which, hey, you're going to do a shower scene, at least have the whole shebang showing there. And they do that, so kudos for that. So yes, 5 out of 5. Anyways, moving on. Enjoyment factor, 5 out of 5, because like I said, it's every kill in this movie is something. It doesn't feel like there's any wasted moments. There seems to always be a gravity to the kill. There always seems to be an impact. And even like some of the kills that weren't as gory, you still go, oh shit, now we're down one more person, So it's brilliant in its gore, in its visuals, in its pacing. I mean, honestly, it's kind of a slow movie, but you really kind of are entranced by it because of the spectacle of the scenes that they put up. And sure, maybe some of the dialogue is kind of weak, and sure, some of the plot points are kind of so-so, but you're just enjoying it because you're seeing things and you're like, wow, holy cow, and that's one of the wonderful things about movies, is when you get to experience things that you're just like shook. You're like, what? I wasn't expecting that. Or, wow, I'm impressed by that. And so this is a movie that does it, and does it often. And even people who aren't like the biggest horror fans that I've had the pleasure of seeing this movie with, even they respect the fact that there's like zombie shark, that freaking eye gouge scene, holy cow, the freaking melee at the hospital church thing. I mean, it's a bunch of brilliance. So 5 out of 5, and my overall impression is also a 5 out of 5, because it's one of those movies that despite its flaws, it transcends to an upper level where it overcomes its weaknesses, it overcomes its shortcomings, and creates a package of awesomeness that you just keep going back to and going back to and going back to, and makes you go, hey, for my birthday, I want the Ultimate Edition Blu-ray of Zombie, even though I already have it on regular DVD and all that other good stuff, because, you know, like movies like The Evil Dead, you can never have too many versions of that damn movie. No way. So, 5 out of 5. And, as to be expected for any movie that's going to be in the top 10, the average score is a 4.3 out of 5, which is pretty freaking ridiculous when you think that some, like, really awesome movies can't even break 4 on the overall average. So, dang, this one, because it's got every element that I look for in a horror movie, so that I can completely enjoy myself in almost every aspect of the film. It's got wonderful violence all over the place. It has great, gruesome gore effects. It has shocking things that happen in there that make you go, wow! It's got tons of titties. I love that. And you know what? It's got a serviceable plot and some halfway decent acting. So, there you have it. Zombie, probably, in my opinion, Lucio Fulci's greatest film. I mean, with The Beyond coming in second. But this movie, oh my goodness, I love it so much, I'm going to eat them. Anyways. Tastes like Soylent Green. So, but anyways, so there you have it. Zombie. The one, the only, otherwise known as Zombie 2, or Zombie Flesh Eaters, or Zombies 2. Anyways. Wonderful stuff, wonderful stuff. So I don't know how long I ranted and raved about this movie. It probably is going to get into that 20-minute mark. But, you know, it's one of those movies, like I said, the top 10. I could just go on and on about them because they're just that great, in my opinion. So, but what did you think, everyone? Did you like the movie Zombies? Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the review? Are you enjoying the 31 Nights of Halloween Horror so far? Honestly, I think, what, now we're only, like, down to the final 4? 28, 29, 30, 31. The final 4 episodes. Oh, my goodness. The final weekend. The height of demonification. And anyways, yeah, guys. I'm going to leave it at that because, like I said, I'm just rambling on. But, internet, guys, girls, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, please, 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 when you see the zombie fighting the shark, just swim away. Don't wait to see who wins, because odds are they're going to be coming after you afterwards. Yeah.